Welcome everyone tonight to the Dark Horse Area 51 Indy Car Series. Back again here. My name is Boomer Logan. Excited to bring you the action tonight from Pocono Raceway. We've got 90 laps on the schedule for tonight here at the Tricky Triangle, the track that is 2.5 miles in length with the longest straightaway in all of NASCAR as well as IndyCar. So it'll be a exciting race tonight as we get closer to the end of the season. It'll be just me tonight, so I don't have Gael or anyone else to fact check me, but try to keep it on the level here tonight, and excited to bring you all the action on this Tuesday night here. So everyone looking like they're going to start setting their qualifying times. Got about a minute into the lone qualifying here. It's about 4 more minutes before we will take to the grid and run our race for tonight. Again, 90 laps in length. Pretty decent weather. Looks like about 68 degrees in the air, about 91 degrees on the track surface. So definitely a little bit hotter and slicker out there, but you'll definitely see these guys have more issues with too much grip, or probably even more likely aero wash or aero tightness more than the loose conditions from that. But they will have a little bit less grip with the higher track temperature today, so should be quite a bit of fun to watch here. Definitely 3 very unique turns here at Pocono that drive absolutely completely different. So you'll definitely be expecting the guys in these cars that drive so well changing the weight jackers and the arm settings all throughout the lap. That's a nice thing about the IndyCar series, is that you can actually do those kinds of adjustments throughout the race, changing your brake bias. Some drivers may even changing brake bias for every single corner. So it'll definitely be exciting to see who can do it the best here, and who can get their cars to handle in all 3 distinct corners of this track. Take a second here to pull up our current point standings, as I believe we've got 3 more races left in the season. We do see, as of right now, looks like Nick Degroot is still leading the points battle with 342 points. Andrew Wood with 327 behind him. Craig Forsyth nipping at their heels, also 10 points behind Andrew in 3rd place. Jeff Heisong and Matt Wagner breaking out the top 5. This will be exciting. I apologize. I'm actually looking at this further. This may be outdated, so I'm gonna hide those for a second, see if we can actually get those updated here in a minute. But definitely an exciting points battle that it's going to be through the end of the season here. These guys have 3 more races left, including tonight at Pocono, and then 2 more races before we crown a champion at the end of the season. This will be a good battle for sure. Have about a minute and a half here before we get ready to take the green flag. You do see a couple cars here on their solo qualifying laps as they go around the track. Let's take a look at, see if we can pull up Matt Wagner here. Currently fastest guy on track with a 41.16. Nick Degroot also running a 41.16. Matt must have the tiebreaker to the thousandths position of a second. So as of right now, he is sitting on the pole. A lot of cars here pretty close in time. So we've got Matt Wagner, Nick Degroot, and Eric Peterson running a 41.16, 41.16, and 41.17. Jeff Heisong is 200ths behind them, 300ths off the leader at a 41.19. Craig Forsyth actually jumps up now to a 41.18. So that is all drivers in the top 5 within 300ths of a second. Quite a tight field here tonight to start. So it'll be exciting to see for sure. Looks like Craig Forsyth is still back out on track, so we'll pick him up here as he still has his second lap to go, coming out of turn number 2. They're a little tight on the wall, but trying to get every inch of that track to be used for his qualifying lap. See what he can do here on this second lap. Looks like most drivers are picking up a little bit. No, he actually elects to come down in pit road and make a pit entrance, so they may be mistaken. They may only do 1 lap of qualifying here, but Jari Brupacker is also getting off the track. William Gunn is also done, so looks like that will do it here for qualifying. So we will bring up your race grid and see where everyone's going to start tonight. So Matt Wagner does claim that pole there with a 40 XE. Yeah, no, excuse me, a 41.162, and it shows that Nick Degroot actually had an identical time. So that was really tight between Matt Wagner and Nick Degroot. Obviously, the sim settling it for the pole for Matt Wagner in the 6 car. Nick Degroot will be to his outside in the 89. Eric Peterson starting third in the 36 car tonight, with Craig Forsyth in the 27 to his outside. Jeff Hysong and Dan Morera will make up the third row for the evening, followed by Andrew Wood and Charles Teed. Top 10, bringing out our top 10 will be Yara Brubacher and William Gunn in the 49 and 14 cars. First car outside of the top 10 tonight is Gary Corley in the 7, with Don Hunter to his outside. We'll bring up the next page of our grid here tonight. The last page, we've got Jason Hand, the 00, in 13th place, with Joseph Grijalva starting in 14th in row number 7. Joseph Morales and Jim Brooks, row number 8. And Taylor Reeves and Joseph DeCiro will be riding shotgun on the field for the start. Looks like most of our cars are taking to the grid now, as you can see here. Pace car is going to get rolling here in a little bit. Got about 30 seconds here for the last people to grid. Looks like we're waiting on one here. There, Yari Brubacher has now entered the car. Should be getting rolling here in just a second. Again, 90 laps tonight at the Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle. Definitely one of the most unique racetracks on our schedule, as well as either the IndyCar schedule or the NASCAR schedule as well. Like I said, there's 3 very distinct areas of this track that you really have to pay attention to. And like I mentioned before, the luxury of these drivers is that they will be able to change those weight jacker settings and everything all throughout the lap. So definitely expect to see these guys working really hard, changing those settings on the steering wheels. I mean, 3, 4, 6 times a lap. You know, there's going to be a lot of different changes that they can make in these cars, which makes it fun to watch, and you know, gives you a chance to play around with the settings and try and improve if you're not doing well in one corner. If you're too loose, you're too tight, you know, you can kind of change that and adjust that throughout the race. So definitely be interesting to see tonight. I believe from what we've been talking about, it should be a 2-stop race. So it'll be interesting to see when they actually pit, see where that fuel strategy goes, see if anyone's going to try and stretch the fuel mileage or not tonight, or if they're going to be able to, or if it's going to be a pretty clean-cut strategy for everyone in the field. Heading into turn number 3 now. Matt Wagner again on pole will be starting the field for tonight. Typically on our first start of the night, it is thrown by the green flag, or the green lights as you will, in iRacing. So it's thrown by the sim, and after that every restart is based off of the leader. So we will see the pace car turning down into pit road this time, and Matt Wagner will lead them under green for the start of the race. Going crank it up style for you there for the first lap, as Matt Wagner does collect that first lap lead for the evening. And that beautiful green and black number 6 car. Take a look. I believe that's actually a green-white checkered TV paint scheme, so we appreciate the support there, Matt. Settles into first place here, although he does have Nick Degroot hot on his tails in the 89 car. Behind him is Eric Peterson, Andrew Wood, and Craig Forsyth, bringing out the top 5. Andrew Wood already up 3 spots tonight Jari Brubacher also up 3, sitting in the 6th position. Those are probably some of our biggest movers so far, although, actually no, Joseph Grijalva actually exiting turn 3 jumps up to 9th spot, which is +5 for him for the night so far. Jim Brooks up 4 in 12th, as we are working on lap number 3. Pretty early into this one, a little bit of craziness going on in the back there. Definitely a really high-speed circuit, especially turn number 2. There's a lot of speed that they carry through this tunnel turn as you see them going through here. So it's very easy to make a mistake and get a little bit tight as you exit that corner and brush that outside wall. You can see a lot of these guys actually taking the outside line here through turn number 3. So you can see on the wall back there what turn number 4. There is no turn number 4 here at Pocono Raceway. Matt Wagner continuing to lead here. With looks like Jari Brubacher actually setting the fastest lap of the race so far with a 41.73, so he's trying to move up a little bit. Currently sitting in the 6th spot here. There's a little bit of a break here you see between Jari Brubacher and Jeff Heisong, I believe. A little bit of a break in those groups there. Actually, take it back. Jeff Heisong's kind of in the middle between Jari Brubacher and Joseph Grijalva, but Joseph Grijalva about a half a second back from Jeff Heisong, and Jeff Heisong about 4/10 of a second behind Jari Brubacher. So a little bit of a gap there as we do see Jari Brubacher jump into the inside of Craig Forsyth in turn number 1, and Eric Peterson's actually going to jump to the inside of Matt Wagner, and he's going to take the lead away. Leading for the first time for Eric tonight in that yellow and red 36 machine. Definitely a little bit of a difference being out front all by yourself because you are using a lot more fuel than anyone else in the draft or in the tow behind you. Definitely makes a huge difference as far as fuel strategy goes. So it's an interesting to see who wants to actually get up, jump out front, and lead. Lead the pack, knowing that you may have to pit a lap or two sooner than the rest of the competition, or if you can get a lot of times at most ovals, usually you get like a 2-car breakaway and they'll like leapfrog back and forth, passing each other a couple times throughout the lap just to kind of keep the momentum up. But if you don't do that, it kind of stacks up everyone behind them, and you can see now there's only about 2 to 3 tenths separating just about everyone all the way through the field. The biggest gap right now looks like it's actually at the 60 of Joseph Morales. We'll hop back there just a bit. Looks like there's a bit of a gap there now between Joseph in 16th place and Gary Corley here in the 15th position. So interesting to see. Wonder if anyone's dropping back to the back of the pack, trying to save some fuel. If it is going to come down to fuel strategy or not. But for the most part, single file action, clean and green. Obviously, pretty early. We've had a lot of luck with saying stuff like that, and then yellow's happening so far this season. So maybe a little bit of commentator's curse, but so far we're rolling pretty clean, pretty quiet for the most part. Eric Peterson definitely making some moves to get up to the front, and so is Jari Brubacher. He's now up 7 spots. So he's kind of climbed there as we hop back to the back of the field. Didn't get to see how much, or the moves he was making there as he's moving steadily. Ooh, we got one car in the wall back there. That might have been Charles Teed. Either Charles Teed or maybe Don Hunter, I think, actually back into the wall there. Definitely a little bit of contact there. Hopefully that didn't disturb the car too much. Looks like for the most part the rear wing and the front wing are intact, but definitely a little bit of contact there could make those cars a lot tighter to drive, and sometimes leads to end up hitting the wall more than once. So we'll have to keep an eye on that white car, the 01 of Don Hunter there. It's definitely tough because if the guy is in front of you, exits the corner high, and if you're peeking out just above him or just higher than him, if he gets close to the wall and you're a little bit higher than him, he's also going to get close to the wall, or you're also going to get close to the wall. As we see a lot of slicing and dicing up here at the front of the pack. Joseph Grijalva making a lot of moves here. Now up 10 spots, just ran the fastest lap of the race of 41.33. Faster than anyone by at least a tenth and a half. So making moves so far, a bit aggressive. And we do see Jari Brubacher now passing Eric Peterson for the lead as well. So these guys are pretty stacked up here at the front of the pack. Everyone really jockeying for position here. Jari Brubacher looks like he is going to come by and lead this lap after Eric Peterson has led the last handful. So he will be our third race of the season. Sorry, third leader of the night. Jeez. Into turn one, all single file here, fairly quiet for now. You see Jari there trying to break the draft as he spurs back and forth down the second straightaway between turn one and turn two. Yeah, you can see how dangerous it is coming off of that high-speed corner, getting really close to the wall. So they'll head down the front straightaway. Again, Jari breaking the toe, trying to keep everyone from getting that draft behind him to suck up to the back of him. Definitely going to see a lot more of that probably as the race goes on. Nick Degroot now working on the outside of Eric Peterson, trying to take that second spot back. Jari Brubacher still leading by about 0.3 of a second here as the battle for second place continues to be exciting. Nick Degroot has that spot right now, followed by Eric Peterson, Joseph Grijalva, and Craig Forsyth in the top 5. Oh, looks like we got a crash in our first yellow of the night out. Looks like at least Charles Teed was collected here. We'll try and see if we can get you a replay. Oh, 3 wide through turn number 2. That doesn't always work too well. Almost saves it and then just kind of gets collected there. Looks like that was Charles Teed. I don't recognize the other paint scheme. Let's see if we can pull that up. Yeah, heavy damage for Charles Teed there, unfortunately. Might have also been going through the field here, just trying to see. Might have been Taylor Reeves there, I believe. We'll try and pull that crash back up. Yeah, I believe it was Taylor Reeves there to the inside. So Taylor Reeves and Charles Teed making some contact there. Fortunately, sending Charles around and then making that extra contact. Looks like they were the only two that really made any contact there. Wow. Lucky for the 14 of William Gunn to just barely get through that. He was just ahead of the 50 there before he came back down across the track. So probably going to be a fast repair for Charles Teed and maybe a fast repair for Taylor Reeves there as well. But we'll jump back live and we'll see if anyone is going to elect to pick up our leader here, who is now running through turn number 3. I would assume just about everyone's going to be trying to come down for a fresh set of tires here. Jari Brubacher leading the field as the leader here for our first caution. We'll see. I don't think no one has stayed out yet, so let's see if we can get a nice shot of everyone filing down pit lane here. Definitely one of the widest and longest pit lanes, and probably some of the biggest, if not the biggest, pit boxes. So nice makes it super easy to get in and out of your box here. Obviously, whenever you're on the concrete surface that you can see to the right where the cars are pitted now, it's almost like a ghost car. You can't actually contact anyone else in the sim while you're completely all fours on 4 tires on that concrete pad, but you can still make contact anytime you're on the asphalt to the left. So definitely still a bit of a dance for all of these drivers to get in and out of pit road. And it does look like Nick Degroot was the one who was able to do that most efficient, and he will jump up to the lead, taking it away from, I think it was Jari. Yeah, Jari Brubacher led them in, so Nick Degroot up 1 spot, Eric Peterson up 1 spot as well. Jari Brubacher dropping 3 spots there under the yellow flag. He was, I think, the only one who ended up taking 4 tires, because I think everyone's about 8 seconds. Maybe Jari actually had some damage to repair, because I believe 8 seconds is pretty common for a 4-tire pit stop. Obviously, these guys with single lugs and a tire changer at all 4 corners of the car, much faster than a NASCAR pit stop. But Nick Degroot and his team able to get out and to the lead there. Big advantage, definitely on the restart to be that leader. And now that we are beyond the first start of the race, he is the one who will be controlling that as we go back to green. So no fancy lane choice or choose cone here in the IndyCar series. Just rack them and stack them as you would normally. Odd cars on the inside, even cars on the outside. Nick Degroot again will be the leader. Lights on the pace car are off, so we will be going back to green next time by. And again, Nick, as soon as the safety car gets off of the track, Nick has the opportunity to go whenever he pleases. If he waits long enough, iRacing will throw the green on its own, but it is up to the leader's discretion here on all subsequent restarts after the initial start of the race. So as of right now, Nick Degroot is up one position from his qualifying spot. Eric Peterson sitting in second with Matt Wagner in third. Jari Prupacher up 5 positions right now in 4th place, and Craig Forsyth down 1 position in 5th. Andrew Wood, Joseph Grijalva, Jim Brooks, Don Hunter, and Jeff Highsong bring up your top 10. William Gunn in 11th place, Gary Corley followed by him in 12th, Dan Marrera, Taylor Reeves, and Joseph DeCiro in 15th place, followed by Jason Hand, Charles Teed, and Joseph Morales. So everyone still on the lead lap. All 18 cars that enter the race tonight are still running. Working on lap number 14, so we'll be restarting with lap number 15 here. Still got a ways to go. 90 laps here doesn't seem like much, but at a 2.5 mile track, it definitely adds up pretty quickly. And especially at a track that is fairly demanding, like we mentioned. A lot of differences between all 3 turns here, so a lot of decisions to change the settings in the car on these Indy cars to try and loosen up or tighten up each corner. Definitely a bit different when you're leading versus in the back of the pack. Speaking of leading, Nick Degroot will lead the car single file to the green flag, and hopefully he gets a good jump. Because as soon as he gets out there, Eric Peterson and the rest of the field is going to catch up to him fairly quickly with the draft, but Nick getting a good jump on that restart and should be able to set sail here. Working on lap number 15. Eric Peterson and Matt Wagner right behind him in the battle for first place. I think they tried to jump onto the outside there, but thought better of it going through turn number 2. Oh, Jim Brooks into the wall hard off of turn number 2. No caution. Oh, there goes the caution. Okay. Wow, that was a hard hit for Jim Brooks. That's such a tough turn because you can get so tight so quickly off of that. We saw it live, but let's go back, see if we can pull up a replay of that as well. That's going to be heavy, heavy damage. Boom, right in front of the camera. Big, big contact for Jim Brooks. Probably going to be enough to have to take a fast repair. You see that right front tire no longer attached properly. For good measure, just a little bit of extra contact there with the wall. So, man, that was a tough, tough hit. Hopefully should be able to take his fast repair there and get back out there, but definitely not a mistake you want to make, especially not on a restart. Sometimes the tires are a little cold too. That could have been it. Don't have a ton of grip on either the outlaps under green flag pit conditions or the first lap after changing tires under green. You see the right rear tire also wobbly, so definitely quite a bit of damage there. Again, probably expect him to take to the pits and take a fast repair. As of right now, Jim's currently working on about 26 seconds of pit time here, so he might actually be struggling just a bit. I don't know if he did take a fast repair or not, but we'll pop back to our leaders as we sit under caution here. So fairly quick caution after the restart there, so we're going to take a second and hop out, and we'll be back for the restart. Just about ready here to hop back under green. Nick Degroot will lead the field. Looks like we did have a bit of a split in pit strategy there. Matt Wagner choosing to come down pit road to, looks like, take a little bit of fuel. Craig Forsyth, Andrew Wood, Gary Corley, Jeff Heisong, Dan Marrera, William Gunn, Joseph DeCiro, Joseph Morales, Jason Hand, and Jim Brooks also coming down pit road there. Trying to top off a little bit of fuel. Looks like a couple people actually took tires. Andrew Wood, Jeff Heisong, Dan Marrera, and William Gunn, the first 4 on tires. Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, and Gary Corley only electing to take a little bit of fuel. We will see how that strategy pays off. Just about 3 extra laps of fuel for the drivers here can mean a big difference here at the end of the race, depending how the fuel strategy plays out. And we do see Nick Degroot here leading the field back to the green flag, underway with a good jump once again as he runs down the front stretch into turn number 1. Heavy braking zone. Oh, looks like maybe a little bit of contact with the wall there for either Eric Peterson or Jari Brupacher. Racing really hard. Clean through turn number 2 on this restart here. Sorry, that time was through turn number 1. Now we're clear through turn number 2. About to start working on lap number 20 as Nick Degroot should be able to lead this lap pretty comfortably. About a 0.2 of a second lead over Eric Peterson in second place. Another 0.4 of a second back to Jari Brupacher. Another 0.2 back to Joseph Grijalva in 4th place, and Don Hunter now in 5th. Don having a pretty good race, up 7 positions. We also have Joseph Grijalva, again mentioned, in 4th. He's up 10 spots on the night so far, and Taylor Reeves up 11, as we do see a battle here at the front. Eric Peterson challenging Nick Degroot there. Eric trying to lead a few more laps, getting back to the front of the pack. Nick Degroot saying no, and for now settling the debate of who wants to lead the race. Joseph Grijalva here entering the picture just behind Jari Brupacher. He's also trying to make a move to the inside of Don Hunter. Eric Peterson also getting the inside of Nick Degroot and will beat him into turn number 1 cleanly. And Joseph Grijalva really all over the place, trying to get around Jari Brupacher here. Almost getting on the wall there between turn number 1 and turn number 2. Man, they get so close. Cars get so close to that outside wall. Got a few fans chiming in here for tonight. Joe Grijalva and Valerie Rocca cheering on Joseph Grijalva here. Excited to see some fans in the stands. Also got Chris Matthews popping in. Thanks for the comment, Chris. Definitely going to be an exciting battle. There's been a lot of lead changes so far as Jari Brupacher jumps to the inside. Looked like he was going to try and take away that first spot. Eric Peterson says, no, I'll take it for now. And Nick Degroot says, no, I'll take it for now. He's going to jump to the inside here through turn number 2, and he's going to take the spot away. Joseph Grijalva saying, I want a piece of that action. He's jumping up to 3rd place here. Jari Brupacher settled in 4th for now. Don Hunter back in 5th, and Taylor Reeves still in 6th place. Matt Wagner sitting in 7th right now. He is the first guy who elected to pit under that last caution there. Coming down for a little extra fuel over the rest of the top 6 in the pack. Pretty settled in for the most part. Couple passes here and there. Taylor Reeves working on Jari Brupacher to the inside of him. Calm down for just a little bit here, working on lap number 23 of 90 for the evening. Nick Degroot continuing to improve his lap lead count for the evening. Definitely still a long way to go here tonight. I mean, not even a third way through this race. So, as you mentioned, 90 laps is quite a long distance here at this 2.5 mile tricky triangle. Laps here take a lot longer than they would at a super speedway, but this is probably the biggest track that I believe we have on the schedule here in the Dark Horse Area 51 Indy Car Series. Eric Peterson jumping back up to the point here. over Nick Degroot. Joseph Grijalva just patiently waiting now, sitting there in 3rd place. Don Hunter also up to 4th. He already slipping back to 5th. Taylor Reeves still sitting in the 6th position. Now Wagner again, the first car who pitted under that last caution, currently in 7th, down 6 positions because he was our pole sitter for the evening. Craig Forsyth sitting in 8th place right now. Andrew Wood and Charles Teed bringing up your top 10 so far tonight. A bit of a gap here between Charles Teed, as we see, to Andrew Wood ahead of him. He's kind of on an island. He's got about a half a second gap in front of him, half a second behind him. Probably the biggest gap that we have in the field right now. Do have a fairly tight battle here between Taylor Reeves, Matt Wagner, and Craig Forsyth as well. These 3 cars almost under a blanket as they enter turn number 1. Taylor Reeves pulling away just a little bit now. Now as the field's going to work through turn number 2. Got a little bit of side-by-side action up here at the front of the pack. We'll jump up to that. Joseph Grijalva still trying to make his way. Oh, got a little tight there behind Nick Degroot. Had to back out of it. Good call. Didn't want to make any contact there with Nick Degroot. Jumps back. He's going to drop off a little bit there by about 0.4 of a second back now to Eric Peterson, who is currently in 2nd as Nick Degroot makes a pass for the lead. Don Hunter also going to try and challenge for those podium positions here. Joseph Grijalva should be able to make a charge here through the draft and get back up to challenge those leaders again. Going to try and get to the inside there of Nick Degroot this time. Not going to stick off of turn number 2. He's going to settle back in line here. Eric Peterson now improving his lap lead count here as Nick Degroot's going to try and challenge him on the outside, get a nice run down the front stretch here. Eric Peterson will lead that lap, but Nick Degroot will jump to the inside. Looks like we also have Craig Forsyth to the inside of Matt Wagner, almost 3 wide with him and Taylor Reeves too. Jump back there for a second, see this exciting action. Battle for 7th place. Matt Wagner challenging him on the inside. Andrew Wood just behind them as well. Matt's going to see if he can make the move stick into turn number 2. No, Craig's going to take the outside, get the run through the corner, and clear the 6th car. Definitely surprised to see so many people running the outside line here through turn number 3. Wasn't something I would have expected, though. I still don't have a ton of IndyCar experience, but it is really impressive to see these guys run such a high-speed track, really, for, I mean, this is a pretty high-speed track for just about any car that runs here in a really heavy braking zone into turn number 1. See if we can pull up driver speeds here as we get back around into turn number 1. You see there, Nick Degroot, 212, 210 through the middle of turn number 3. Getting a big run down the front stretch. We're actually going to jump on Eric Peterson. He's got a good run down the front stretch, 223 miles an hour before he starts to lift on the gas and brake a little bit for turn number 1. A lot of speed here, a lot of speed here through all of these corners here. I mean, just about every corner is over 210 miles an hour, and definitely in the real world, those cars, a lot of G-forces that they're experiencing. Not going to feel those obviously as much in the sim unless you have a fancy motion rig, but not even with that, not going to feel quite the same amount of forces. I mean, these guys are, definitely been equated to fighter pilots in the past. These cars look very aggressive, like a fighter pilot does. So we'll see Peterson getting a great run into turn number 1, 225 entering this time. He's going to make the pass stick on Nick Degroot here as he moves into the point position. So definitely really impressive to see these guys run on pretty much a razor's edge with all this downforce on such light cars. Nick Degroot's going to say again through turn number 2, I'm going to take it back. That's that kind of leapfrog action that we were talking about earlier, where if you can get a chance to kind of leapfrog back and forth between the top two cars sometimes gives you an opportunity to break away from the pack a little bit. Two cars doing that leapfrog. Oh, we got a car. Wow, going into the pits. Taylor Reeves, I don't think that was planned. If it was, that was a very, yeah, no, it looks like he just got a little bit of loose and entered down the pit lane. I don't think that was planned. If it was, that was quite aggressive, but I think he probably is going to be serving a pit road penalty here. As of right now, he's currently 17, 18 seconds in his pit boxes. We'll jump back live. We'll jump back to the leaders. So I don't think that was planned for him, but Jason Hand also in on pit road this time. Looks like Jason Hand's going to get 4 fresh tires and fuel. So working on lap number 33 here. So he pit last, I believe, at lap 13, like most of the rest of the field. So looking at about 19 to 20 laps or so on fuel, which should make sense for these Indy cars tonight. So I would assume probably see some of these guys starting, most of the rest of the field starting to come down as well. And definitely, yeah, okay, so Taylor Reeves now been sitting in his pit stall for over a minute, so I would assume potentially repairing some of the damage he might have incurred from that slide as well. So minute and 7 seconds, and he is back out on the track. Unfortunately, that's going to put him at least 1 lap down, probably 2 here. We'll have to see where he cycles back out, but Eric Peterson still battling hard with Nick Degroot for that top position, and Joseph Grijalva kind of solidifying his name here in the podium chase, at least so far tonight, as we see Nick Degroot making the pass to the inside. Eric Peterson on the outside. Before we get too many cars coming back down pit road for the rest of their pit cycle, let's try and see if we can go through the field here. Nick Degroot here, running in first place, swapping back positions with Eric Peterson, who's also going to jump to the point now through turn number 1. Joseph Grijalva here, pretty comfortably in third place for most of the night. Been running pretty well so far, up 11 positions, our biggest mover by far. Jari Brubacher here back in fourth place, up 5 for the night. Don Hunter back behind him in 7th place in hot pursuit of him as well. Craig Forsyth in 6th place. We have Matt Wagner in 7th place. Again, down 6 positions. Hasn't changed, hasn't moved since the last pit. And he pitted on that last caution to get, has about 3 to 4 laps extra fuel over anyone ahead of them. Actually, I take that back. Craig Forsyth and Matt Wagner have about 4 laps of fuel more than anyone else in front of them. Followed by Andrew Wood, who also pitted at lap number 16 in the 8th spot. Jeff Hysong blinking out a little bit there, but he's back in the 9th position in the 18 car. Gary Corley finishing out your top 10. Charles Teed here sitting in 11th. Good recovery after that early incident, as well as Jim Brooks sitting in 12th. Again, both those guys having a bit of damage hitting the wall. I believe both out of turn 2 there. Definitely a tricky spot through that high-speed corner. William Gunn here sitting in 13th place. Dan Morera in 14th. We also have Joseph Morales rounding out the top 15. And Joseph DeCiro being the last car on the lead lap. Jason Hand falls somewhere behind him, but he's actually a lap down behind the rest of the field in that 00 car. And Taylor Reeves, as we mentioned, with that pit penalty and a little bit of damage, he is currently being scored 2 laps down. Jumping back to our leaders here, looks like Joseph Grijalva going to take over the top spot as Nick Degroot is going to make his pit stop, as well as Eric Peterson. They're going to come down here. Ooh, a lot of lockup there for the 89. Let's see. Hopefully he doesn't get a penalty there. Him and Eric Peterson coming in together. So 2 of our leaders on the same strategy so far. We'll pick back up. Jari Brubacher actually got around Joseph Grijalva there. Third turn number 1 or turn number 2. We're paying attention to guys on pit road. Don Hunter now picks up in 3rd position. Matt Wagner in 4th. Craig Forsyth in 5th. So get a lot of these guys pitting on lap number 12. Most of the rest of the field coming down this time. lap 12 to 38. If math is right, should be about 26 laps or so on the pit cycle. So going to be probably at least a 3-stop race, I would assume, unless someone can stretch it 30 laps on a cycle, but that would be pretty difficult to do for sure. Don Hunter is going to assume the race lead with Matt Wagner behind him. Greg Forsyth, Andrew Wood, and Jeff Hysong now your top 5. Nick Degroot is currently scored in the 13th position, leading all the drivers that have pitted most recently. You see Don Hunter jumping down a pit road this time, so Matt Wagner is going to pick up the lead this time.
So I was strolling here a little late, Boomer. Appreciate you covering for me here this evening. So it looks like things are almost halfway point in this race already. So it looks like things are moving along pretty quickly as things continue here. I say it looks like I caught you guys in the middle of green flag pit stops.
Yeah, definitely. As we look and see Jim Brooks, Gary Corley, Charles T. William Gunn, and Joseph Morales, a big group of drivers coming down pit road this time by. Matt Wagner will pick up the lead. In our pole winner tonight, Matt Wagner. So, oh, we got a car in the wall. Looks like the 01 of Don Hunter, I believe. Not going to throw a caution, but if he stays on the track like this, he might get one here in a second. See if he comes to a stop in that.
Oh yeah, he's just barely limping along.
Yeah, I guess I would expect him to maybe try and stop and get off the track, but not going to throw a caution for now.
Yeah, it looks like he's just trying to safely kind of just drag that car, kind of use the wall to his advantage there. So I wonder if that thing just won't crank left, because this is where you kind of would expect him to crank it left, turn into those access roads down there. But yeah, he's just going to try to limp this thing along. So these drivers have to be very careful. Yeah, it looks like that car just has 0 left turn capabilities here. Kind of a rock and a hard place situation here where he can't really just cut straight. As I say that, though, you can say, here comes, there's the contact we were afraid of as he gets involved. And we get the whole field coming through. Oh, man, some cars just squeezing by. That's going to bring out the yellow. And I believe, unfortunately, involved in that is Eric Peterson, if I'm not mistaken there.
Yeah.
And, that's a rough one there. So he almost got there, and I think that's, again, kind of that looking back at things, maybe if he was able to try to find a way to get to the access road, but that car just looked like it had 0 steering input. So he's kind of rocking a hard place there. What was the best approach, unfortunately?
Yeah, definitely unfortunate for sure. Could have been maybe an opportunity to think about coming down or stopping the car and taking the tow, because you can do that in iRacing. But yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. I mean, Eric Peterson, I don't know the exact lap lead count, but between Eric Peterson and Nick Degroot, they were leading just about most of these laps. So it's definitely going to put Eric to the tail end of the lead lap. I would assume he can stay on the lead lap here. He's probably going to take a faster repair. It looks like the car magically getting repaired there, and he's going to take 4 fresh tires, I would assume, and he is out and away. We will try to jump back up to our leaders here. So looks like Craig Forsyth, Andrew Wood, Nick Degroot, and oh no, actually I take it back. So Craig Forsyth is our leader, currently being scored in the first position. He actually hasn't pit last since lap 16, so this is going to benefit him the most, as well as Andrew Wood. So some of those guys who got a little bit extra fuel under the second caution of the night, they were able to stretch it all the way to another yellow flag. So that was a huge opportunity for Craig and Andrew there. To not have to pit. Obviously, they will cycle to the back of the pack probably, because I would assume maybe there's a couple guys. Nick Degroot's actually going to come down and get back on the same strategy as these guys as well. Joseph Grijalva also in, and I think Yari Brupacher making his way down pit road. So be interesting to see those guys just trying to stay on the same strategy here. For the most part, everyone should be within about 2 to 3 laps of on the same pit cycle. So it'll be interesting to see how many more. I think they've got to pit at least once more, probably twice more at this point.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's trying to get ordered up to figure out who's going to be where on tracks. Like I said, whenever you get cautions in the middle of pit stop cycle, it really, really shakes things up right now. So I believe it's going to be Matt Wagner. Well, I thought it was going to be Matt Wagner that nets to the lead here, but right now, though, I mean, I say I've got Jim Brooks rolling all the way up now in front of the field, right behind one car who I believe is Jason. Nope, not Jason. I'm sorry. Trying to see who that last car in that group is here. So yeah, I think was that the 41. Yeah, Taylor Reeves. So
Yeah,
I
the
think Taylor's
41
gonna try to get hit one of his laps back. Kind of do that wave round, which is actually say he put it on 31, so
Yeah.
might be doable. And trying to double check Eric Peterson. I think Eric may have unfortunately got trapped a lap in that whole cycle as well. So yeah, not unfortunately unscathed out of that one. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I want to say, I mean, those guys that pitted at 40, 41, not feeling too terribly bad about those guys. Like, and like I said, Nick Degroot, and I think what we see there from him though, he jumped a bunch of those guys like Craig Forsyth and company as they went ahead and actually did he did fuel only since he had just pitted for tires, just got basically a splash of fuel, get on level playing ground with Craig and them, but was able to run about a 4-second quicker stop. So gained some spots, but still going to restart. Looks like back in about 7th the way everything's shaking out here.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a shake-up here. Jim Brooks is going to assume the lead. Gary Corley, William Gunn, Charles Teed, and Jeff Hysong in the top 5. Definitely, most of those guys haven't spent too much time in the top 5 so far tonight. Nick DeGroot currently being shown in the 6th position, followed by Dan Marrera, Andrew Wood, Greg Forsyth, and Joseph Grijalva. So, bit of a shake-up to the standings here. After that last caution, again, we noted that unfortunately Eric Peterson now trapped 1 lap down after being one of the fastest cars. Definitely going to be a contender for the win tonight. Had things not changed for him, so that's probably one of the biggest things that you worry about, right? When you're, maybe not at the front of the pack is, especially, I've had instances where, you're getting passed by leaders, and the one thing you want to do is not mess up in front of them, right? It's always a terrible feeling to kind of get in someone's way who is contending for the win.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's usually more often than not, it's just you try too hard to kind of stay out of the way, and just mistakes happen. I know I've done my fair share of silly mistakes where, yeah, you try to run too high up against the wall, and I'll kind of catch the wall, bounce down into that one of the lead lap cars, and yeah, you just feel terrible about it. So it's just one of those things you got to shake off though and get back after it. So what I am looking at here though, Boomer, is the timing of this caution. We're going to restart this thing with 40 on lap number 46, which should put us right at halfway with 45 laps to go. Again, no green, white checkers here. So we talked about fuel mileage earlier. I'm looking at the numbers here. Can somebody potentially one stop this thing?
I think
They can split this thing up and maybe 23 laps. They can make this thing to the checkered.
Yeah, I think they can. I think about just about everyone, even the guys that pitted on lap 40, because we did see a couple guys go 25, 26 laps on a fuel run. So, especially for the guys, Jim Brooks, Gary Corley, William Gunn, and Charles Teed, who pitted last on lap number 40 with a couple laps of caution there, they should be able to pit one more time and go the rest of the distance here as we see Jim Brooks taking off and assuming the lead here. Getting a couple late laps led under caution. Going to lead the field through turn number 1. Jim,
yeah, so this is one of those nice feelings too, where you get some nice clean air and say no. I talked to him a little bit during practice. He mentioned he definitely liked the way it felt out front with clean air on it. So that might be something that he's going to have to try to fight pretty hard for to try to hang on to, as you see Gary Corley and William Gunn fighting for that runner-up spot though entering 3. And then, yeah, we'll just see kind of the comparison for those that pitted under yellow. As you see Charles Teed, a big run off of 3. He's going to try to grab that 3rd spot as well. So these guys trying to make some quick use out of those fresh tires.
Yeah, that was a huge run for Charles Teed there. A lot of guys having a pretty good recovery. Charles Teed getting into an incident earlier in the race with Taylor Reeves, now running in the 3rd position, and Jim Brooks getting into the wall by himself off of turn number 2, getting a little bit of aero wash there, and hitting the wall hard. So a couple guys that are running pretty hard up here in the top 3 on the podium placings right now, but might have to think twice about how hard they end up pushing, knowing that they do not have any more fast repairs.
Yeah, it's that balance of aggression versus trying to make sure you got a car at the end of this thing. Then also just right behind them, though, last week's winner, Jeff Heisong, he's trying to see if he can maybe go back to back right now, working on that number 50 of Charles Seed, put himself into that third position. So it's one of those things once you get that monkey off your back and get those wins, they really seem to start rolling in afterwards. So I think that kind of takes that pressure off. You can just get back to doing what you do best. So. But he won't have to look too far behind because here comes one of the first cars that pitted under that yellow. That's going to be Nick Degroot right now, just outside the top 5 here, trying to work over William Gunn there in that Red Bull. And a little further back, looking for Matt Wagner in the 6th. Again, he topped off on that one to go at 44. Again, I think that kind of shows Matt's probably looking at the long game here, hoping that this thing goes green to the end.
Yeah, definitely. Matt having a good run in qualifying here tonight. Had a little bit of struggles throughout the race, but he's going to try and make his way, hopefully on fuel strategy here, to get back towards the front. Currently, again, being shown in the 11th position. So we do see Gary Corley's actually going to challenge for the lead, jumping to the inside of Jim Brooks. Jim's going to be able to, looks like, make it stick on the outside. See if he can get it through turn number 3, get the run down the front stretch. Should be able to comfortably lead this lap here.
Yes, and this is all about momentum versus shorter distance, where Corley had the shorter distance through the turns, but Jim's able to keep that momentum built up top there, and you can see the difference right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teed got that draft. He's like, I'm going to have a shot at this, and then here you go. Corley gets the same thing. He gets the momentum up top, and then the benefit of that draft as well down the back. So it's definitely not an easy thing to pass, especially when you kind of get this draft train. Because as soon as you try to get underneath somebody, if they're in the draft of that car in front of you, the 14 may have just kissed the wall there off the tunnel turn. So he did lose a spot there to Andrew Wood. So I'll have to keep an eye and see if that car starts to push. Because that definitely looked like if he didn't hit it, he definitely tried to scare it.
Yeah, he definitely fell back a couple spots there after that happened. So yeah, definitely, especially off of turn number 2, we've seen a lot of guys get really close to that wall. Obviously, Jim Brooks getting into it on his own. A couple other guys having some issues off of that corner, but no one really making contact too bad. A couple of, obviously we had a couple multi-car incidents, with our most recently one being with the 01 of Don Hunter, and who was our second place driver at the time, Eric Peterson, now scored 15th. First car 1 lap down.
Yeah, so the only thing Eric's got going in his favor is he's got about 3.5 seconds to the next car 1 down of Taylor Reeves. So I mean that's about the best you can kind of have in your favor at this point. So I'm saying this is again that for Eric Peterson, the kind of that rock and a hard place. How hard do you push here? Because you want to keep your car in a good shape, but at the same time you got to be careful not to abuse it too much. So. And you mentioned drivers falling back, though, that 14 William Gunn after that slight potential contact to the wall. I think he must have, because that car just does not seem to be handling nearly as well as he'd want it to be. As I say that, here comes Matt Wagner trying to pick up a few more spots here. I'll say, because right now Matt's goal, he cannot lose this front pack here, because right now it's right at the edge. I'm looking at Craig Forsyth, but then you go back to William Gunn, it's about 1.6 seconds, which is just on the outside looking in. So say Matt's going to possibly be kind of in between a rock and a hard place here pretty soon for that track position game.
Yeah, you can see that big gap here through turn number 1. Definitely do not want to fall off of that pack. It is fairly easy to gain positions on that pack, especially if they're running a couple of lanes wide, like it looks like they are, and dicing back and forth trying to break the draft and stuff. But definitely creates a bigger hole in the air for them to suck back up to, and a lot of times looks like William Gunn's going to have... oh, no, I apologize. William Gunn and Dan Marrera. Yeah, Dan Marrera is the first car on the back of this pack. Craig Forsyth is catching up to them right now. Dan Marrera actually has... looks like he's got a little bit of the toe, as he's going to be able to get back up to this pack pretty quickly, but we still have that little bit of separation. Another big separation between, looks like, Yari Prupacher and Joseph Morales there in 13th place, about 3 seconds of the gap between them there. You can see those 3 running at the back of the pack.
Yes, and that's that lucky dog battle. I'll say just behind them there, what we mentioned with Taylor Reeves in that mix, kind of leading that 3-car pack again. So he's trying to get back up to Eric Peterson. Like we mentioned, Eric's just going to try to stay in this pack and stay away. But you're exactly right, though, Boomer. With everything that was going on there, though, those guys were able to race right back up to them. So I say that's kind of job number one done, crisis averted, if you will. So. And right now it's kind of changed up front though. While we're watching those guys, it's actually switched over now to Charles Teed, Gary Corley. They've started kind of taking over the lead point of this race, kind of trying to leapfrog each other, kind of keep the pace of this race up. So I wonder if maybe Jim also possibly just backing down his pace a little bit here, maybe trying to keep some fuel mileage in that car. We talked about that. I think the goal here is to try to see if you can get to that one-stop strategy to the end of this race. Again, though, our top three last pitted at 40. Andrew Wood 43, Jeff Heisung 41. Then we had a bunch of guys at 43 like Joseph, Craig, Nick, and Dan. And then you go to Matt Wagner, the first of those that topped off on the one to go pitting at 44. So as I said, there goes Andrew Wood, a big move here. He's going to try to get 2 for 1 entering turn number 1, and he's going to do it.
Power move.
That's a big move there. What that 64.
What a great run down the front stretch there. Yeah, so Gary Corley, Charles Teed, and Jim Brooks currently now in the second, third, and fourth positions need to pay attention a little bit to fuel, whereas just about anyone else who has pitted, like you said, at 43 or 44 doesn't have to worry nearly as much as we see Andrew Wood now jumping to the point. He will lead his first lap of the race. Gary Corley in second. Joseph Grijalva back to the podium placings in the third spot. Charles Teed hanging on to fourth right now, and Jim Brooks still up 11 positions on the night, sitting in fifth. Joseph Grijalva also up 11 spots, again, we mentioned, back in the third position. So definitely some big movers at the front of this pack right now.
Yeah, and this is a track that really allows for it. I mean, it's just we got the long straights, so you can work the draft and make stuff happen. And I'm saying we're going to see it because right now, see just ahead of these guys, the 41 of Taylor Reeves, he actually had to hit pit road there. I think that was a scheduled stop as he had pitted early, or he had stayed out to try to get that wave around, but unfortunately didn't get the caution. He needed to kind of gain that extra lap back that he was aiming for. So now you see as they start snaking all around the front stretch here, probably just trying to grab any draft they can and break the draft as well. But yeah, these guys are going at it pretty tooth and nail right here, though, Boomer. But you're right, though. It looks like Andrew Wood's actually been able to kind of steady himself out a little bit. And I think that's, again, due to he's just caught the tail end of that draft off of that 41 car. So it's actually kind of worked in his favor, the timing of when he got to the front, because now he can just steal some draft off that 41. And yeah, you can see he's just chasing that draft off the rear wing of that 41 car.
Hey, even the 41's trying to break the draft as a lap car. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually important for him right now. He's kind of on the edge of going to 2 down. And I mean, we've talked about before, I mean, 1 lap down, you've got opportunities. When you drop to 2 down, it really kind of closes up chances to try to get all the way back on the lead lap. So I do see why he's doing it. But yeah, it's going to be a losing fight, unfortunately, because so I mean, Andrew, he's got the draft and he's just going to pull right back on there.
Yeah, but you're right. Quick.
Yeah, and then there's more shifting around again while I was peeking around. Those guys, I say Jim's actually got around Gary Corley to move him up to third, Joseph up to second. So you talk about 12 and 13 spots gained for second and third. So great jobs by those guys. And then just behind them, Craig Forsyth's just trying to make a move now on Gary here through 3. But again, the momentum shift plus the draft is definitely pulling Gary along here. Although actually Jim was a little bit lower on the front stretch there. It actually gave Craig the toe he needed. Say that was either by plan or not. That's definitely a nice little benefit there for that number 27 car.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Joseph Grijalva definitely having a career night so far tonight. I mean, he's been in the top 3 just about all night and has had a lot of opportunities to make his way forward. And I do see Jim Brooks also now making his way back into the podium placings now in the third spot. Gary Corley now dropping back to the 6th position. So Joseph Grijalva will lead this lap. Andrew Wood in second, Jim Brooks in third. Craig Forsyth now making his moves up to the 4th spot. He's definitely trying to get to the front here. Craig's moving quite a bit here.
Yeah, he made some big moves there to jump a ton of track position there. Not just for position, but just the gap to the leaders as well. But yeah, you're right, though. Joseph now he's back up into the lead here in that 47. I think Joseph, honestly, probably a little bit of unfinished business, was in contention for the win last week at Kentucky. just unfortunately had some contact when there was kind of fighting hard for the top spot towards the end of it, and so he kind of ended up on the worst end for wear at the end of that race. So I think he's got something to prove, saying like, hey, I was there, I had a chance, I'm going to be going after it one more time here. So definitely in that 47, he's been a quick learner with this IndyCar and with this series, and so it's definitely going to be one that I think, like how we talked about the regulars, if you will, like the Andrews and Jim, Craig, Nick, and Matt, and all those guys. Like it's going to be one of those things where, like, all right, we've got a new guy we got to kind of keep on our radar here.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Definitely showing out tonight, and really has been the class of the field. We've seen a lot of guys like Nick Degroot getting back in the pack and really unable to. I mean, he making some moves here and there, very slowly, very methodically, like Nick's style for sure. But definitely not as fast as some of the other drivers, and definitely not as fast as Joseph Grijalva. He's been able to get to that those top three placings fairly easily all night long, and having a little bit of an issue now getting around the 41 of Taylor Reeves as he does finally duck to the inside, but looks like Taylor Reeves will probably have the outside lane momentum to carry him back to not the first place standing. Obviously, we mentioned he has currently scored 1 lap down, so if Joseph does get around him, he will actually be scored 2 laps down. So we mentioned that's a big fight for the 41 of Taylor Reeves to try and stay on that lead, 1 lap down lap. Definitely going to be fighting hard for sure, as we mentioned, as it looks like they should be able to get him here down into turn number 1. Andrew Wood now having a big run behind him as well. Kind of boxed in there.
Andrew took advantage of that draft. Yeah, kind of
made a big difference though. Yeah.
It kind of looked to me like Joseph was actually trying to use Taylor as a bit of a draft, really, or just kind of would roar up to the back of him and just kind of pull the anchor out and just back it down. So I think the 47's thinking fuel mileage still here too. I think a lot of these guys want to make sure that they can get one stop to the end. And even like you said, maybe for Nick Degroot, you talked about him. Some of these guys might be trying to see if they can find a way to maybe try to, actually, here, early pit stop for Jim Brooks. This is not what you want to have happen here to make it to the end, as this is going to be with 26 to go there at the line. Yeah, William Gunn as well. So this isn't what you're hoping for if you were those guys that stayed out there to get that track position. So now at this point, they're going to be in a tough spot here because they will have to take a splash towards the end of this race. So now I think we're back to that point here, Boomer, who blinks first. Or ideally, I guess in this one, actually, who blinks last to make sure that they can make it to the end here.
Yeah, for sure. That was, I guess that makes about sense. That was, 65 laps there from the 40 lap mark. They been going about 25, 26 laps on fuel cycles. Gary Corley's going to come in this time now. So these are guys that were pitting at 40. Yeah, they should be pretty close to be able to make it here. Now we've got 25 laps to go, so it'll be tight. But I think they'll be able to do it. Actually, the one who's probably in maybe not the best position, but I think Charles Teed is actually going to make it all the way. He stopped last on lap number 40, still running right now. Probably going to be coming in this time, I would assume, but that is stretching at least 25 laps, so he will be in position to be able to make it the rest of the way, thankfully. So some of the other guys, I think, was it Jim Brooks and Gary Corley have pitted?
Yeah.
They may be in a little bit of trouble, as well as William Gunn.
And here comes
Teed in that time. Okay. So 24 laps to go. So now the window. Oh, some contact there for the wall. Looks like from Joseph Grijalva as he was battling with Craig Forsyth, who is now to the point. Hopefully that didn't cause any damage to the 47 machine as he gets back around the 27 of Craig Forsyth.
Yes, and this 41 just feels like he's just in the middle of a fight he probably doesn't want to be in the middle of, but again, he has to push here to try to stay that 1 lap down, because again, that could completely change the outcome of this race. Because right now, those guys that pitted, they're still in tail end of the lead lap, so they're not a lap down. So right now, he's still right on that very tail end. I see, I think, yep, here comes Yari and Jeff Heisong coming in, as is Dan Morera. But you're right, though, Boomer. It's looking pretty good for these guys. The one I'm surprised that hasn't made a bigger charge yet is that number 6 of Matt Wagner. Again, he topped off on that 1 to go. I really thought he would try to make a big push here, maybe try to run some of those other guys maybe out of field by keeping that pace built up. But right now, these guys up front, though, they're just still battling pretty aggressively here. Although, like you mentioned about Joseph, though, that it does seem like that car's got maybe a little bit of a push after that slight contact. So Wondering if that toe might just be a little bit off here, or just, I mean, it also could just be the dirty air, but whatever it is, he's on pit road now here, 22 to go. Also, Matt Wagner here, a little surprised by that one. Earlier than I expected to see that 6 car, but he must be feeling confident that this is where he can make it to the end.
Yeah, we'll have to see here as Craig Forsyth, Andrew Wood, and Nick Degroot staying out later than anyone. They're the only 3 that have not pitted. And just about everyone, I think, would be able to make it to the end of the race. Let's see, so yeah, Jim Brooks and William Gunn pitted on lap 64, so they're going to have a little bit of a tough time stretching it 26 laps to the end here, but we'll see. We've seen cars do it. They just might need to be more conservative on this last fuel run here, but now we do see the rest of the field coming in. Actually, Nick Degroot, the only one staying out still so far.
Nick's going to run one more here. I like it, though, because this, I say, of course, the yellow throws everything out of the window, but this allows Nick to try to do that really big in lap and, of course, that really aggressive pit entry to see if he can gain. And also, look at all this draft he's catching here, Boomer. He's going to start stealing some toe off of these guys. As long as it doesn't really hurt him too bad through the turns, if he gets that dirty air here, as you see, he gets around one right there. This actually might be a really good opportunity for him to really kind of just get that big in lap to try to see if he can maybe leapfrog himself around Craig and those guys. So we'll see, because here he comes, and this should complete our cycle of green flag pit stops.
A little sideways there. Managing, looks like, to settle it down. Have had a couple people get onto pit road tonight with a couple of speeding penalties, so we'll see. We'll pick back up with our current, well, who we would assume would pick up the lead would be Craig Forsyth. Jari Brubacher there being shown the last car on the lead lap. Eric Peterson just ahead of them. He is currently 2 laps down, so he's fighting to stay 2 laps down and not go 3 laps down. But we'll see here as Nick Degroot is going to be coming out of the pits here, just about exiting. So I would assume that Craig Forsyth is actually going to jump up in front of him here and assume the lead. See where they come out in relation. Yep, they get around Nick Degroot there as he gets out of the pits. Nick Degroot should cycle back into probably the top 5, I would assume there.
Yeah, looks
definitely
like
a big
4th right
gap.
here.
I think the biggest winner of that pit cycle was maybe Matt Wagner, because he was able to stay in 5th position, and he was not necessarily running in the 5th position for most of that run, that last green flag run there.
Yeah, no, he definitely had a good in-out lap. And you ask maybe how did Craig Forsyth get the lead after pit stop cycle? His pit lane time was 42.63 seconds, about 0.7 of a second quicker than Andrew Wood, about 0.4 quicker than Jim, and actually about 1.4 seconds actually quicker than Nick Degroot. So Craig nailing his pit entry, kind of getting down to speed at the absolute last second, nailing his pit stall and getting right on out there. So
yeah, great
I'll
job.
say Craig, those in laps, like I said, those are crucial here. So again, this is interesting now, though, Boomer, to say we're 19 to go. I mean, we feel pretty confident that those drivers that pitted at 64, like Jim Brooks, probably cannot make it to the end. But now, does he maybe have the opportunity here? Does he just go absolute full fuel save in that 51, just kind of just toe off the draft of Craig off of Andrew here, and just try to see if he can just hold as much track position as he can to hang on to this top 3, maybe top 5, because they do have a pretty good gap right now. Matt Wagner, you mentioned, he's just on the cusp of holding on to these guys. But then they've got about 1.8 seconds to that next pack with Jeff Heisong, Joseph Grijalva. So not a bad spot to be in right now in that top 5 here. And actually, it looks like it's grown to about 2 seconds now. So if Matt can keep up his pace here, he could actually sneak away from those guys. And as it runs, looks like it could be a 5-horse race.
Yeah, for sure. I think I definitely think that Jim's going to be a little bit in trouble, because he only ran 24 laps on the second to last green flag run there. Or the previous green flag run to this, and he's got to go 20. So he ran 24. He's got to go 26 this time. So if he had to pit that early, he'll definitely be thinking about ways to conserve a lot more fuel than he did on the last run. But it does look like we're going to see Andrew Wood now put Eric Peterson 3 laps down, and he's working on Jari Brubacher to put him, I believe, just 1 lap down now. Yeah.
Jari right now is right on the edge of being 1 down, if not tail end. So, yeah, it's a tough spot to be in for Jari. You don't know how hard you really want to push again. There's your answer, though. Andrew Wood, he doesn't want to have anything to do with Jari. Jari doesn't want to have anything to do with staying trapped that lap down. So, I say these guys are starting to go after it here, and that's just the fight to stay on the lead lap for Yari. So it'll get interesting here because there's definitely no holding back. It looks like just even try to stay on the lead lap. So pretty impressive to see Yari kind of going after it as hard as he can, because again, this could be a make or break situation depending if and when a caution falls. So and do you need to mention though, that gap between Matt Wagner and Jeff Hysong, it's now grown more. It's about almost 3 seconds now. So this right now it's pretty much a top 5 horse race here. Just depends on who is going to be able to kind of first make it to the end. With Andrew Craig pitting at 69, Nick at 70, Jim at 64, and then Matt at 68. So we've got about 4 different laps when everybody pitted here in that top 5. So like I said, I mean, for Jim, he's going to have to really back down his fuel map and just use the draft to its full potential to have any chance to make it to the end.
Yeah, I think he's in a good position at least to try and do that with, like you said, the company that he has and the gap that he has back to everyone else behind him. But definitely unfortunate for Jari Brubacher, that last pit stop, getting a 40-second stop and hold for either too fast entering or speeding, as well as Eric Peterson. So Eric definitely not doing himself any favors, now being shown 2 laps down, unfortunately, with that pit cycle, that mistake there. So definitely probably kicking himself as Yari. He still might be the lucky dog, or he would be in the lucky dog position if another yellow were to come out. So that is beneficial to him, as he's going to still continue to try and make his lap back the hard way, getting around Andrew Wood. I'm sure Andrew Wood's probably getting a little bit tired of that. Like, hey man, let me go. I just want to race with Craig Forsyth and now Nick Degroot, who has entered the chat for the podium placings.
Yeah, saying of course the way it is right now. Caution out! Actually, looks like further in the back. Oh, and it's the 18 car. It looks like Jeff Hysong around, trying to take a look and see how that car looks. Looks like it's not too worse for wear. He's already looped it around. He's grabbing a gear here, but that's a big break there for that 51 of Jim Brooks for his fuel mileage. The question mark is Jari Brubacher. Where was he at the time of the yellow? And based on him holding back here, I think it's going to be probably behind Andrew Wood. So we'll have to keep an eye and see. It looks like he's having to wait for that pace car as well. So unfortunately for Yari, won't quite get the lap back the old-fashioned way, which I say that's going to be a bit of a bummer for the 00 of Jason Hand, because he was next in line to benefit from that one. So now the question is, do we see any pit stops from those leaders? Maybe do tires being enough here, or is it going to be all track position all the way to the end here? So I think we'll see some mixed strategy.
Anderson, looking at some of the replay, looks like Jeff may have had a little bit of help from Joseph Grijalva there. Honestly, Joseph almost looking like he was pushing the 18 into turn number 3 there. So Joseph made a little bit of contact with the wall, and then kind of had a run on the 18, and just might have had a little bit of contact there, and the 18 goes spinning to the inside of the track.
Yeah, you're almost looked like the 47 was almost hooked on the rear. What do you call it? Like the rear, not bumper. Obviously, these cars don't really have those, but like almost the car just got got a little bit. Yeah, maybe just got a little bit too close to him.
Yeah.
Kind of got locked onto him as a push, and then that just was unable to separate. So kind of has that feel to it there, unfortunately, because obviously these aren't the next gen cars. Definitely not very often we'll see any tandem drafting, as you see Jari Brubacher going to get his lap back. And we talked about pit stops. One of those drivers that was on the edge of fuel, Jim Brooks, he did hit pit road, and it looks like only brought 3 others with him. Jeff Hysong, which makes sense, of course, William Gunn, and Joseph Morales. So pretty much everybody else that went further on fuel said, you know what, we're good on fuel. We're not worried about tires. We want that track position. So
I think William Gunn was one of the others that pitted at lap 64 as well. But sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, exactly right. And so I think that was the right call for them. That kind of probably answers our question too, because I don't think we would have seen Jim give up that track position with that top 5 where he was if he thought he had a chance to make it. So, but no, I was just going to mention, just the way it works right now. Our top 3 in the points, running 1, 2, 3 on track right now with Nick Degroot, Andrew Wood, and Craig Forsyth. So it's going to take pretty much after tonight. I think they've got 2 more races after this one. We will go to Twin Ring Motegi and finish up at Phoenix Raceway will be our season finale. So these guys, and I mean, the points are tight, Boomer. I mean, right now it's Nick Degroot with only a 15-point lead over Andrew, 25 points over Craig, and that big win last week for Jeff Heisong, he brought him actually way up to 65 out of the lead there. So he made a really solid jump as well to get have a chance at this thing as well on the outside. But of course, unfortunately, that slide through the grass not going to do him any favors here, but never know. Say sometimes when those things happen, kind of ramps you up a little bit, get a little more aggressive, and maybe get some breaks to go your way as well. So it's going to be fun to see because we're going to restart this thing with, I think, right on the dot with 10 to go, if I'm not mistaken, next time by.
Yeah, definitely going to be exciting for sure. We tried to bring out the points earlier, though. For some reason, I think I had updated the link, but it wasn't correct. So yeah, definitely Nick Degroot in the lead of that championship battle. But as you mentioned, it's really tight. There's only 25 points that separate Nick Degroot, Andrew Wood, and Craig Forsyth, all gunning for this championship. And even Jeff Heisong there with a 65-point gap to the leader, and Matt Wagner with a 90-point gap to the leader in 5th place. Definitely going to come down to the last couple races here. Could be a big night for Andrew Wood to creep back into that championship battle over Nick Degroot. Also, Craig Forsyth, if he can keep Nick Degroot back there in 3rd place, will gain a few positions for himself there as well. Andrew Wood definitely kind of be in the class of the field here in the last third or so of the race, but that cream always rising to the top. We got Craig Forsyth in 2nd, Nick Degroot in 3rd. Matt Wagner still definitely improving on his night. Obviously fell back a little bit early on in the race, had some mixes with a little bit of strategy there, but finds himself back in the 4th spot. And Joseph Grijalva also kind of having an up and down night. Definitely probably passed more cars than anyone else, not just because he's up 9 spots, but he's kind of moved front to back a couple times. So definitely, again, continuing a great night for him there as he sits in the 5th spot. He's open to improve on that. So it'll be exciting to hear. Like you said, Gael will be going back to green with 10 laps to go. Andrew Wood will lead the single car field back to the green flag, again, under his discretion when he chooses to go. As soon as the pace car leaves the track surface, he's good to go on his own accord.
Yeah, exactly. No restart zones implemented here. Probably next year you'll see it in use, or next season, I guess I should say. So yeah, so once that pace car's off the surface, it's up to Andrew to decide when to go, and it's going to be up to Craig to try to be quick on the draw here. So again, no green light checkers here as they get going. Saying you see already everybody's starting to juke around here, try to break that draft as that snake goes down the front stretch. So this is going to be where that aggression is going to pick up, especially around probably about 5 to go, because that could be the final caution to end this race. So we'll see if that comes into fruition or not. So I definitely think we'll see some big moves from these drivers to try to get to the front as soon as they can.
Yeah, definitely. Andrew Wood is going to try and make his way, continuing to lead the pack as they're 2 wide behind him. Nick Degroot on the outside of Craig Forsyth. And you did see on the restart, there is a restart zone. Oh, a little bit of contact. Oh, into
Gary
the wall.
Corley.
Gary Corley, hard into the wall. Yellow flag will come out.
Yeah, caution out. Yeah, big hit for Gary Corley there, unfortunately.
Wow, big hit.
Saying he's going to try. I don't think that's going to make it back to pit road here, but
yeah, just he did the same thing. Did the same thing pretty much that Jim Brooks did off of 2. Jim was our 2nd caution of the night, but he kind of he hit the outside wall and then bounced off and hit the inside wall too. So that was a big hit for Gary there. I think he still has one more fast repair, but definitely not going to be advantageous to him. I think he's already a couple laps down, so kind of a continuation of a fairly tough night for him.
Yeah, it looks like he had to take a tow as well, unfortunately. So yeah, it's going to drop him back a fair bit. So but that being said, though, someone's bad luck is going to be someone's fortune, and I think this case is going to go to the 41 of Taylor Reeves. We talked about Taylor just was fighting for so long to try to stay. I think it was trying to stay just 1 down instead of the 2 down, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like he's going to be able to be the beneficiary of that and get back to that 1 lap down here, or get back to lead lap. I'm sorry, I should say. So that's going to be a big break for him. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Charles T. Jim Brooks, very thankful that he kind of ricocheted as far down as he did, because they were right in his path to kind of wind up right into him as well. So
yeah, we've seen,
but again, though, you wonder, those guys that topped off, they're like, oh man, if I know there's gonna be another yellow, we probably could have stayed out there and kept that track position.
Yeah, and that's something that you don't expect to know, right? You don't expect to, you don't have any idea if that's going to come or not. But definitely, as you said, the pace ramping up and everyone getting a little bit excited. Looks like a couple people here are gonna probably fake the pit stop there. I don't see anyone coming down here for the rest of the race. But I was gonna say we have had a lot of action off of turn number 2, and could have been a lot worse. Mostly single car incidents, couple 2-car incidents off of turn number 2, but for the most part, people either getting cleared and the wreck sliding right across the front of their nose or right across the back of the car. So thankfully, like you said, he's kind of sliding to the inside quickly and not getting in anyone's way. As you do see, the 41 will get his lap back. Taylor Reeves, he will be back on the tail end of the lead lap, scored in 13th position.
Yeah, so what this is going to do, Boomer, is just going to hype up everybody even more now because of the fact that, again, now you're going to have a restart with 6 to go. And so now they know pretty much most likely the next yellow going to end the race. So these guys are going to be up on the wheel and just anything they can get. There's going to be a lot of taking, not a lot of giving here at the end. So, there's going to be a lot of big moves and probably a lot of protective driving, especially obviously by Andrew. He's going to have to just hug that inside for all he's worth, it looks like. But again, this is definitely a track where you can really get that momentum built up on that outside line.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So after a little bit of a quick yellow here, we are going to step away for just a moment, but don't worry, we'll be back as soon as the pace car lights go out. There'll be 1 to go, and we will hop back on as they get through turn number 2 and be ready for what should be the final restart. All right, we will pick back up here with Andrew Wood, who will resume the lead or continue the lead. We resume green flag action as we get back to green flag racing with 6 laps to go here. Nick Degroot close behind him in second place. Craig Forsyth currently in third. Matt Wagner in fourth, and Joseph Grijalva still up 9 positions. Our biggest mover so far, or as of right now, in the 5th position. And big jump for Andrew Wood as he's going to lead the field to the green flag and down into turn number 1. That big old snake that you see all the way down here as a little bit of cloud cover comes in over the raceway here at Pocono.
Yeah, it may not be a bad thing giving these guys a little bit more grip, but right now, I think the goal for a lot of these guys, they got to get those temperatures built back up into the tires and get probably a little bit of comfort built in. And I say what Andrew's going to be rooting for is he wants to see Craig and Nick fight each other for that 3rd position. But you can see everybody being quick on the draw. Look at Nick straight to the bottom here. He's going to send it into 3. We'll see if it's going to hold, and it looks like it is. But wait for Andrew to see if he can make that counterattack.
He's going to have a good good toe, a good run off of turn number 4. He's going to get back to the inside. He might even clear him before he gets into turn number 1 here. That is currently the move that would give Andrew the lap lead if they continue to swap back and forth places like this throughout the lap. So Nick Degroot's going to have to try and find a different strategy here all over the back of that 64, trying to find something to get a spot and get a run. And it looks like he might pull out just to the outside. Nope, 64 is going to get there first into turn number 2.
Yeah, and out of nowhere, here comes Matt Wagner in that 6 car. He's making some big moves. Yeah, he's up to 3rd now, while Craig's dropped to 4th as, he and Joseph Grijalva was just squeezing each other. But yeah, Nick and Andrew, I mean, they are swapping lanes, trying to find the right place at the right time. And that's what these guys are doing. They're jockeying and figure out, okay, where do I need to position myself to either get in front of that car or to be able to hold that car off. And right now, it seems like if you can send it and get the lead entering 3, it looked like the 64 got loose there for a moment.
Oh, big crash, trouble in the back.
Yeah, Dan Murray, Joseph Grijalva as well.
Yeah.
And that may or may not do that. We might get a absolute last. We might get a
white checker. Yeah.
Like a white checker. Oh man, the 47 is going to be driving this thing at a 45-degree angle. We'll try to get it back to pit road here, but
wow.
Let's go. I'll let you go back and take a look. But yeah, that's a big hit though, unfortunately for Joseph there.
Riding on with Joseph, he had a little bit of contact there, running side by side with Craig Forsyth. They had a little bit of contact earlier in the race, so just getting a little aggressive, and looks like kind of washes up in front. Oh, just gets a little bit tight. Man, that's weird. Almost like he got like arrow tight in front of Dan Marrero there. But
yeah, there's nowhere for Dan to go, unfortunately. And then like once again, right in front of Charles Tito has to do again some more avoiding action there in that number 50. And so so it looks like a 2-car incident there. And unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's probably night over for Dan, as I believe he had already had to use the fast repair fairly recently in that machine. But somehow both these guys have just wheeled their cars back to pit road as terrible as they're driving here. So pretty impressive in that sense as well. So
yeah, we can actually see on the broadcast here. So it looks like the 47 kind of washed up. The 26 tried to cut down, and when he did, he kind of didn't cut down fast enough. Might have misjudged it a little bit, but Dan getting into the back of the 47. So definitely unfortunate. Dan was just trying to get underneath Joseph and try to make the pass, but I think that's gonna put them towards the tail end of the pack for the night.
Yeah, the hope is that they've got some fast repairs in store to be able to get back after it here. But looking at Joseph, that car's sitting on pit road, not much happening to it. Looking at Dan as well, saying that car he can't even get to point straight enough to get onto pit road here or into his pit stall. And actually, no, I'm wrong. Looks like Dan's car's got the repairs done here, but they're going to have to hustle because the leaders are just coming to the start-finish line now.
Yeah, so looks like I don't
actually, lights are still on, so I think this is going to do it. I think this will finish under yellow tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because it would have had to go one to go.
Had to go one to go that time.
Yep. Okay, so that should do it. I believe
as long as everybody's got fuel.
Yeah, so unfortunate for Joseph Grijalva there. He's just going to sit on pit road, and he'll claim his 15th spot. Actually, no, I take it back, because Eric Peterson is currently running on the track. Eric Peterson might actually leapfrog Joseph Grijalva here. As we saw Gary Corley there taking the wave around. He will actually finish this race on the lead lap, but won't do much good for him. He'll be in 13th without a chance to improve his position here. So I guess cautiously call it, but they're really, there's no way that it would go green at this point, because the one, it would go one to go, and you'd be getting the checkered and the green at the same time. So should be the winner for Andrew Wood here, and he kind of came on really strong here in the last third of this race. So that was really impressive to see him do that. Obviously, Nick Degroot kind of climbing his way methodically, and Matt Wagner having a great, what ended up being the final restart to jump up to third place. So definitely, he probably would have hoped to see a little bit more after he showed out some strength taking the pole tonight.
Yeah, no, and that's a really good point with what Matt Wagner was able to do. Is I'm trying to go back and see where he actually restarted on that one, because I don't believe he was in that third spot. I thought he was
P5 when he restarted that last restart. Maybe I was wrong, but I thought he was at least I think he gained at least 2 spots.
Yeah, I was thinking similar as well. So So he's able to jump a couple of spots there, and also a good recovery as well for Jim Brooks. Looks like he's gonna, I believe, be 5th or 6th. It looks like a top 5 actually for everything he went through to come back to a top 5 is gonna be a pretty good result. And yeah, there you go. You can see
Yep.
light still in the pace car. We got the white flag, so I said unfortunately. Fortunately, unfortunately, I guess. Say Andrew Wood saying fortunately because he doesn't have to stress over another restart here. Again, Dark Horse Area 51 Indy Series, they mimic the IndyCar rules and schedules. So yeah, single file restarts, no green white checkers. That way, okay, and just kind of again mimics what the actual IndyCar series is doing. So so I say good recoveries for a few drivers there, and yeah, just unfortunately some bad luck there at the end. And say it's kind of the same or different days, same story for Joseph Grijalvo. Is right in the thick of it there, just unfortunately just bad luck towards the very end of the race that kind of takes him out of contention for a really good result tonight.
Yeah, Eric Peterson will get around him, so Joseph will jump down to the 16th position, unfortunately. But definitely a very kind of a boring, honestly, finish to what was quite an exciting race all night long. It's been a lot of fun calling this race up until this final caution here, and no chance for a final restart. But man, that was really cool. I mean, like you said, so. Jim Brooks, a big recovery after getting into the wall off of turn 2 on a restart, cold tires, and just smoked the wall. Took his fast repair and really spent a lot of time back in the top 5. Also, Charles Teed having that incident early on in the race as well, recovering to his 6th place finish. So that's, I mean, great work for them. Jim being our biggest mover with 11 positions gained on the night. Joseph Morales was up 8 spots in the 7th position, and Andrew Wood up 6 to claim the lead and the win, which he will do here officially as we cross the stripe in
We're gonna get a 3-way finish though.
Yeah, we are going to get a 3-way finish. Fairly boring fashion, unfortunately, but there you go, a 3-wide finish for the race. That was exciting there at the end.
Yeah, I say, and that's the crazier part about that too is we've actually had closer 3-wide finishes at about 220 miles an hour in some of these ones. So yeah, it's been pretty impressive to see what these guys can do. But yeah,
for
another solid night here though for Andrew Wood again. He was only 15 points out. Nick Degroot's in the finish runner-up, but this might be enough to jump him back into that top spot. So, like I said, we've got a fight on our hands here. Say, Craig, not the result he wanted, I'm sure, but still, he's going to grab a 4th, so won't drop too far back either. Say, unfortunately, the one that definitely took the biggest brunt there was Jeff Heisong dropping to 9th after that late incident on his end as well. So, so say Andrew Wood, though, getting the win here, and he's going to, again, try to just start creeping slowly but surely up onto that top step here with Nick Degroot.
Yeah, we'll see, because I believe he also led the most laps tonight as well, Andrew Wood, in that 64. I could be wrong. It might have been a little bit of damage there on the celebrations there, but no matter. Brings it home, a race winner, so doesn't care too much. Obviously, a virtual car, so don't have to pay for a new nose cone or anything there. But funny to see that he's going to do a Polish victory lap. So, but yeah, I can't remember if there are. I believe there are points for most laps led, and I think Andrew would have been close to that. I know that Eric Peterson led a ton at the beginning of this race, so it'll be interesting to see if Andrew did pick up that bonus point. But definitely a big night, like I said, a big final third of this race for him, and a big win. So we're going to try and get some of these guys in the podium placings up here for an interview, and actually we will bring up our pole sitter first. That was the number 6 of Matt Wagner, as we will move him up into the broadcast booth here. Definitely a bit of a show of strength there at the beginning, laying out a pole lap just about the exact same time as Nick Degroot, but you're able to just barely edge him out on time and start on that first spot. A little bit of a couple rough spots in the middle of the race there, but you came alive on that what ended up being that last restart there, Matt. Take us through how you got to that 3rd place finish.
My rabbit's foot. The way that my races have been going, it's not been the fair share of luck. So as the track was it was changing throughout the course of the race, the track tempo is lowering, and I thought that me sitting in fourth spot would actually have much cleaner air, which would give me more opportunities to make some moves. So when Craig went low, and it gave me the opportunity to go high, because the high line was prevailing the whole race, as you guys saw. Um, so I was trying to low line all race long. I just could not make it work, and so I fell back quite a few spots, and trying to make it up on pit road. Had a little bit of an issue on pit road, so hopefully we'll get that cleared up and ready for next race.
Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah.
I think was it the second or the last green flag pit cycle? You actually had a great opportunity to jump frog or leapfrog a couple spots. 'Cause I think you were probably running just outside of the top 10 and managed to come out fifth after that strategy. So ended up working out for you a little bit towards the end where it really counted.
Yeah, the pit stops were phenomenal, except for one little bump in the road. Having that first pit stall during the first caution was a big bonus for me. I think I gained like 3 spots on that first stop, and you're already having a little bit of an issue. Missed his pit stall, so it kind of worked out in my favor. So um, the setup was great. I really enjoyed it. The guys I raced with were pretty clean. Craig and them and Nick and Andrew. Congrats to him. It's well deserved. And that Nick and these guys are phenomenal racers. And there's what can I say? It's a great league to be a part of.
Yeah, so you brought back the green white checkered paints game too. So I'll say it's I feel like it's been a little bit hit or miss if it's been working well for you or not. But so I mean, still got to say able to get the pole. And yeah, I think if Boomer's right, I think it went down to the thousandths of a second if I'm not mistaken there as well. So so you definitely weren't leaving anything for margin on the qualifying side. With saying to be able to kind of top some of those ridiculous qualifiers like Nick Degroots and company. It's actually I'm gonna pull up the lap time. Yeah. It was. I think it went to the.
Do you have accurate
the
on
fourth
that?
digit, if I'm not mistaken?
Do you have that?
From what I saw, I went to the fourth digit because everything that I could pull up, at least in the broadcast booth, showed that it was identical to the thousandth of a second. So I don't know.
That is nuts.
Yeah,
crazy. I saw that.
Yeah, I mean that was impressive.
So we'll pull up on Sim Racer Hub and we'll find out. I'm quite curious, and Jim will do that. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, great result though, Matt. And yes, they brings you a little closer in the points. Obviously, I say those top three trying to run away from things. But I say you're still you're still within fighting distance. I think. I mean, 94 out. You're only 5 behind Jeff Heisong for the fourth spot as well. So I mean, there's definitely still stuff to fight for there. Got 2 more. I know you're looking forward to next week at Twin Ring Motegi. I know that's one that's probably been circled on your calendar.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's. I'm really looking forward to Twin Ring, and it's one of my favorite racetracks at Homestead. They're really technical tracks, like your short tracks and the rhythm tracks. I really truly enjoy them. We'll see what happens with what goes on there.
All right. Well, before we kick you out of here, though, I know you've got some good people that work with you that help you out week in and week out. So definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for getting that podium here tonight.
Well, I'd like to thank you actually for that beautiful green white checker scheme me running tonight. It's represent the boys in the booth. We didn't bring home the win tonight, but it was good. Shout out to my parents. They watch my races every week. So, guys, it's been great. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate it, Matt. So definitely big opportunity for him tonight to finish in the top 3 after getting that big pole position tonight. So we are now going to bring up the guy that he just barely beat out for the first position for the pole tonight. Nick Degroot starting on the outside pole and claiming the second place on the finish tonight. Definitely unfortunate you guys didn't get a chance to race back to the green at the end there after that last caution, but you were pretty much there at the beginning of the race, up in the lead in the lead pack or so, and kind of dropped back through the middle of the race. But I mean, we kind of always comment on your methodical approach, just able to figure out how to get back up to the front throughout the race, and take us through how you got back to that second place finish, Nick.
Yeah, I was just for a good portion of that race trying to figure out the fuel strategy, and it kept changing with the cautions and with how much we're burning per lap here. It's really hard to figure because one lap could actually mean a lot, where at most tracks it really doesn't mean that much. And so I ended up on an opposite strategy of Andrew and Craig after that caution on like lap 19, I think it was, which I didn't want to do. My whole thing was I wanted to shadow them the whole race because I just got to maintain my points lead and keep them behind me. So I was going to just kind of do what they do. And then we ended up off strategy, and then we had a caution later that brought us all back together. And then I kind of had to save a little bit more there, which is why I drifted back. And then, of course, it got set up that we got to have a shootout to the finish, only to have that taken away at the second. So, of course, I would have loved to have seen it finish under green because I think that would have been a hell of a finish. But even more so, I wish that caution had just come out 1 or 2 seconds later because we were nosing ahead right at the time of that yellow. So it's just the luck of it. It was a great battle, though, and I think those final 3 laps were going to be really good.
Yeah, it was a really exciting one, and like I said, yeah, it did seem like the strategies really came into play where when you pitted versus when others would pit, worse. And then, like I said, that the not the last yellow, but the one before, where it kind of brought a few people back in on the fuel mileage side of things, because there were a few drivers that looked like they didn't have the fuel numbers that they were probably looking to need to make it to the end of the race. At that point, were you feeling, because I think it was pretty much a 5-car breakaway with you and Nick, Matt, Craig, and Jim, and Andrew, of course, too. Was that something where were you looking at that at all, saying like, okay, if we've got gap on 6, let's say we'll be able, if we stay green, we'll be able to sell it amongst the 5 of us? Or I mean, I say, what do you do in that situation where you kind of see where things are at?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Normally, I would be looking at that, but in this race, I was just fully focused on Andrew and Craig the whole time. Nobody else really existed to me. And yeah, that was kind of where my mind was at this entire race. Just, we're getting to the nitty gritty of the championship. And after my blunder last weekend, crashing on pit exit, I really wanted to make up for that this weekend. So yeah, I was just fully focused on that. Wasn't even thinking about that like I normally would.
Yeah, definitely going to be a big challenger. Big part of your focus will be those other championship contenders. So it's still a very tight battle for sure, as you commented on. But so far, still able to stay. I believe still able to claim that top spot heading into the last 2 races of the season. So how are you feeling so far, being the points leader currently going into tonight, and how do you feel for the next 2 races to finish out the season to try and go back to back for the championship?
Yeah, I feel good about Motegi. I love that track, but Phoenix has me a little more, I'm not really sure. And Andrew, of course, he's an ace on those shorter ovals, so that really plays into his advantage here. I really needed to try to pad my lead here at Pocono and Kentucky, and with the second place finish here, and with my terribly amateur, embarrassing moment at Kentucky, it's allowed him to really cut into it. But should make it exciting. The final couple races going to be really good to watch, and Craig is still in this fight too. He's not that far back.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Definitely still going to be a close battle, but we're all humans. Sometimes we do make mistakes, and definitely glad to see you bounce back this week and a pretty good finish here at Pocono. So congrats again for another podium placing. Had quite a few of them this season, but so far a good run, and hope to see you to battle strong here through the end. So next we will bring up Andrew Wood, our race winner for the evening here at Pocono. Definitely had quite a bit of an opportunity to kind of steal the show for what really was probably the final third of the race or so. Able to get to that point position and really not back off of it. Definitely had some challenges at the end there, but a great race for you, Andrew. Take us through all that happened to get you this race win tonight.
Well, it's no surprise to anyone, especially people that I was chatting with, that this is not an oval I'm very strong at. Pocono has always been kind of a sticking point for me. So when I saw it on the schedule, I knew it was kind of going to be a damage limitation kind of race for me. Qualifying left me in a really sour spot because I felt like I ran a perfect lap and somehow I rolled off in 7th. I don't really understand the lines around here, I guess, as well as some people do. So, starting in 7th wasn't that ideal. But I was able to make it up to 4th on the first lap, just through some luck. The outside line didn't really get rolling really well. So I was basically just trying to fuel save right off the bat and fuel save as much as I possibly could because I knew that there are other guys that wanted to run up front more than me. So I let Yari by and I let Grijalva by to let them kind of play around up front so I could just sit in the back and save a bit. I was on a trajectory to be on a cut out a pit stop and then kind of hopefully just run really slow for the last stint if we ran green all the way. But one of the yellows came out that kind of put everyone on the same page and we all pit together. So I knew Nick was on that strategy too. So I've been watching my fuel numbers for most of that stint and just doing the best I could to maintain my speed. And then when it was time to go, I made my way up to the front past Gary, Corley, and a few other guys there. The yellows at the end really weren't very good for me because I knew Nick was right behind me, and I just don't know how to defend the lead very well here. Others can do it. I'm just not very good at it. So if that ran green to the end, I was probably not going to win the race. So I did the best I could to have the best sort of lead position through turn 1 and then leave for the rest of the lap. And if a yellow came out, I hopefully get it. And that's exactly what happened. So I wouldn't say I'm the deserved winner in the sense of head-to-head racing, but you take what you can get basically. And that's what happened tonight.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes that's really what it is. I mean, we've had a few times where drivers will be like, "Yeah, this isn't really my best track," and not feeling it too much, and find a way to pull off the win. So, man, it looks like you've really shrunk the gap now. Say because we've updated the points there, and right now again with a drop week showing the best 9 out of the 10 races for everybody. You now sit 2 points behind Nick Degroot going into those final 2 races here with Twin Ring Motegi and Phoenix Raceway. So. Sounds like Nick feeling pretty good about Twin Ring, but feeling a little nervous and feeling like that might be kind of your place to kind of capitalize would be at Phoenix Raceway in 2 weeks. I mean, what are your thoughts on those final 2 races to try to see if you can jump that number 89 and grab that title this season?
Yeah, I'd like to say that qualifying is going to be kind of paramount at those 2 tracks in particular, but if tonight's any indication, then anything can happen, really. You save fuel at the right time and put yourself in a spot to win the race up front, and it could be yours to win. So, like tonight, I don't think I was supposed to be the winner. So, it could happen to anyone, really. Anyone in this field can catch a timely yellow and win it. So, it's just a matter of putting your car in the right spot in order to put yourself, ahead of your competition. And Motegi definitely will be one of those tracks where you have to always be on top of your strategy and make sure you make the right calls at the right time. And same thing for Phoenix too. But if it's a straight green flag run through all of both those races, then it's going to be a matter of putting yourself at the front and just hoping for the best.
Yeah, definitely an exciting opportunity to pick up, I believe, your 3rd win of the season. So, like you said, battle through a little bit of adversity to get through a win, especially on a track that you said you're not too confident on, but definitely a good opportunity, and it was exciting to watch you guys battle it out here tonight, and definitely want to give you the opportunity to give any thanks and shout-outs for this first place finish that you've earned here at Pocono Raceway tonight.
Yeah, thanks to all the competitors that came to race tonight. Definitely seemed like some guys capitalized on some good fuel strategy and got to run up front tonight, which they're probably not used to, but good for them for running up front. Thanks to Jim and Matt for putting the league on. Thanks to you guys for commentating. And yeah, thanks for all the opportunities I've been given here. It doesn't go unnoticed, and I'm happy to be a part of this league.
Definitely appreciate that, Andrew. And again, congratulations to you on that win tonight after what was quite an exciting battle just about all race long. Going to bring up our results here real quick and show you. Again, we saw Andrew Wood claiming that victory with Nick Degroot just behind him and Matt Wagner breaking out our top 3 podium placings. Craig Forsyth hanging on for 4th place. Again, we mentioned Jim Brooks and Charles Teed in 5th and 6th with a great recovery on the evening. Joseph Morales finishing 7th. Yari Brupacher recovering after that pit road speeding penalty to the 8th position. Jeff Heisong also recovering. A lot of recoveries tonight after some of that contact, finishing in the 9th position. William Gunn finishing out the top 10. Taylor Reeves, Dan Marrero, Gary Corley, Jason Hand, and Eric Peterson in 15th. Unfortunate night for him after what was going to be probably a great night for him so far, especially at the beginning of this race for Eric, but as well as Joseph Grijalva finishing in 16th, so definitely not the positions that reflect what a great job they did at the early stages of this race. So Joseph DeCiro and Don Hunter obviously retiring early, finishing in 17th and 18th to finish out our field, but yeah, it was an exciting night. 2 more races to go in this season, and the Dark Horse Area 51 IndyCar Series. A lot of fun tonight, and definitely glad you could still join us for a little bit, Gael. And what were your thoughts on tonight's action?
Oh, it was good. I say I'm a little bummed that I wasn't able to get in first thing because as I've talked about before, I love Pocono. I say I think there's like 4 tracks that just have to be on the schedule at these. Say Pocono being one of them. So yeah, they definitely did it justice. They had a lot of good racing there, and like I said, I'm sure a lot of guys are kind of kicking themselves like, man, if we just wouldn't be able to get that last restart, go green to the end, we could have made something happen there. But saying that's where the strategy comes in with these races, and that's why with Andrew Wood, what he was saying, he was having to try to be as aggressive as he could, just every opportunity to be at the front of the field just in case that caution came out, and he was able to have himself just at the right place at the right time when that yellow flew. So that's part of the game, and that's why you can't kind of wait for those last lap passes with this Indy series. So really kind of adds that whole little extra layer of strategy in these things.
Yeah, definitely for sure. An exciting track. The Tricky Triangle was tamed by Andrew Wood tonight. Again, breaking into a little bit of that lead of Nick Degroot in the 89 car. So definitely a lot of excitement left for the rest of the season. Again, we mentioned there are 2 more races to go, starting again with next week at Twin Ring Motegi over at, I believe, Japan, if I'm not mistaken, but should be a fun battle over the pond there. Yeah, I mean, if the racing tonight is any indication of what's in store for the rest of the season, it's going to be a close and very, very exciting championship battle. So we hope to see you all back here next week for, again, another exciting battle in the Dark Horse Area 51 IndyCar Series. Check out also on Green White Checker TV, we've got our Thursday night Super Speedway Truck Super Speedway Series. They're getting into their playoff battles as well. We do also have the Sunday night Xfinity Super Speedway Series as well as the Monday night Next Gen Series. So lots of intense racing going on here at Area 51 on Tuesday nights in the Dark Horse Area 51 IndyCar Series. So a lot of fun for sure, and we'll be calling much more action throughout the week and throughout the coming weeks as we crown 4 champions this season. So appreciate you guys tuning in tonight, or I know a lot of drivers typically watch back, and all of our fans for watching tonight. We appreciate all of you. Definitely makes it worthwhile for us and makes a lot of fun to have that participation and that appreciation. So hope we're doing a good job for you, and love being here every single week. So until next week, we will see you guys then. Hope you guys all have a great week, and we'll be back with more exciting racing action.